Welcome back to the Polarity Plunge YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about somatic therapy, what it is, why it's so beneficial today, and how we offer it here at Polarity Plunge. So somatic therapy, which I facilitate through Tai Chi, Qigong, yoga, movement in general, breathing, breath work, pranayama, yogic pranayama, all of these different ways in which somatic therapy can be facilitated is what we do a lot here at Polarity Plunge. Even contrast therapy can be somatic therapy technically, because we're using our body with temperatures. Obviously we're using heat, we're using the cold, we're using the breath, we're using relaxation, releasing of the muscles, which is done in Tai Chi and Qigong, and in the cold plunge. You eventually want to get to this point where you can release your muscles and you can calm your breathing, and you're using somatics, which I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me rewind. So somatic therapy is using the body to heal the mind. We know that our mind affects our body. When we're stressed, we tense up. When we hear a loud noise, our fight or flight, which is our brain, our amygdala, the emotional center of our brain, fires off, and so we tense up. Our body reacts instinctually. Also, when we're chronically stressed, we create tension and knots in our shoulders. When we have to have a conversation that we're not excited to have, or speak in front of a crowd, our heartbeat starts to go faster and faster, our lungs start to constrict, our breathing starts to pick up, it becomes more rapid. So these are all ways in which our mind and our emotions affect our body. Now, somatic therapy plays on this mind-body connection and reverses it, using our body to then heal, control, master our mind. We see this in various ways in the day-to-day with those examples I just gave of having to speak. If you're stressing about speaking in front of a crowd, if you're not excited about a conversation that you have to have, and you notice your heartbeat picks up, you notice your breathing gets restricted, then you can actually use your breath to slow down your heartbeat. You can consciously use your breath to slow down and regulate your nervous system, which then in turns will affect your mind and your emotions. You will notice a sense of calm starting to creep in. And those other examples as well of when there's a lot of tension, chronic stress in the shoulders, and you get knots in the shoulders. We know that a massage is going to help. We know that sauna, infrared sauna, is going to help. And we also know that that emotion that's getting stored in our muscles, in our body, can be released consciously through things like this, slow shoulder rolls, which is a very common Qigong technique that I teach for somatic therapy, for stress. And members here at Polarity Plunge, depending on what they need and what they want, I'll give them somatic practices that they can do in the sauna or in the cold plunge that will help not only with their physical tension and this stored, trapped energy that's affecting their body physically and creating pain, but it's also going to release emotions and help regulate their nervous system and heal their mind and their emotional world, because just as the mind affects the body can affect the mind. And if we can drop into the body and control our reactions, our tensions, and consciously release them and consciously slow our breathing, then it is going to play out not just in the physical level, but the mental level, the emotional level, and in all areas of our life. So that's what somatic therapy is, put very simply. Using the body to heal and to master the mind. So a few somatic techniques that I'll give you for next time you come here at Polarity Plunge. The heat and the cold, these extremes, these polarities, give you such a great opportunity to practice somatic therapy. When you're in the sauna, I already mentioned this one, you can do the shoulder rolls. If you have a lot of chronic stress or overwhelm in your day-to-day, in your work schedule, when you're sitting in the sauna, you can inhale, take your shoulders up, and exhale. Roll them back. Inhale, exhale, roll them back. You can go 5 one way and then 5 the other way. Inhale, rounding up, and exhale forward. Inhale, and exhale forward. So this is going to release tension if you do it consistently, especially as a member of Polarity Plunge, sitting in the sauna, getting that detox, and you consistently roll. You're gonna notice that at first, when you started the practice, you could maybe roll like this, just because those muscles were so locked and so tense. And then throughout a couple of weeks in your practice, you'll notice that you'll be able to have so much more range of motion just in your shoulders, because you've allowed that stagnant, stuck, trapped bioenergy of emotions, which affects then the muscular system and even the fascia of the body. You've allowed that to get massaged out through your movement, because movement is medicine, and that has allowed the bioenergy that was once trapped in once a very congested area in your body to be released and to be let go, and to be, in Chinese, it's called song, which is one of the first principles of Tai Chi that you learn, is to be song. Where normally driving around in our day-to-day, we're here, our phones, we're here, our work, we're here, we're always so tensed, our eating, we're here. If we can learn to drop it and be song, be released, then it's going to work wonders, not just for our physical aches and pains, but for our mental, emotional well-being. We're gonna watch our stress melt away, and calm and peace are going to enter in as our state of being in our minds and in our bodies. So there's one somatic practice that you can do in the sauna. The other form of somatics that I do much work in is breath work and breathing. So the breath is an aspect of our body that we always can remember to have conscious control over, and it can affect our state of being. In past videos here on the Polarity Plunge YouTube channel, we've talked about different breath works that you can do in the sauna, different breath works that you can do in the cold plunge. I would go back to that video if you haven't seen it yet, because those breathing techniques are gonna really give you the best experience here in Polarity Plunges, saunas, and cold plunges with contrast therapy. But a simple technique that I use in the cold plunge, always, every single time that I first get in for somatics, is before I get in the plunge, I start my breathing. Low and slow is what I always tell people. I intentionally, consciously try to make my exhale longer than my inhale, because that's gonna down-regulate my nervous system and make me calm in the chaos, master of my mind in the plunge. So low, as in my belly breath, and slow, as in not quick repetitions, but I step in the cold plunge. It's cold on my legs. On my exhale, I sit down. Exhale to sit down. I'm in it. My breath might start to hyperventilate a little bit. That's okay, that's fine. Let it do what it needs to do. But then I always try to push it back out. And then eventually, I try to get to a place where I don't have to exhale out my mouth. I can just breathe normally, my regular breath. And then maybe I move a little bit, and so my thermal barrier around my body breaks and the cold starts to intensify again. And so instead of getting out, I remember, oh, I can breathe. So I take another deep, low and slow inhale and exhale out the mouth to regain back control, put myself back in charge of my state of being and of my circumstances, of my environment that I'm in this cold plunge, which then puts me in control and in charge of my circumstances and my environment out in the outside world. So those are some simple somatic techniques, somatic practices, one that you can use in the sauna, one that you can use in the cold plunge, that I personally use every single time. And there's a lot of other movements, and there's a lot of other breathing techniques that when you come to polarity plunge, depending on your wants, your needs, your struggles, your goals, I can teach you, and that's part of your sessions. As a member of Polarity Plunge, I infuse somatic therapy into your sessions, not generally, but specifically to what you want and what you need, to what your struggles are, to what your goals are. I will tailor a somatic therapy routine and practice that you can use here, and also you can use in your day-to-day life, whether it's the shoulder rolls with the qigong techniques, or whether it's the breathing practices with the yoga pranayama. I'll give it all to you. Also, we have a back room here at Polarity Plunge. This back room is specific for hour-long sessions of somatic therapy that I facilitate, or hour-long sessions of breath work that my wife Rachel facilitates. Now on our website, you're going to start to see, if it's not there yet, if you're catching this video before it's up, then just call me or DM me. But you're going to see now that you can book a breathwork session or a somatic therapy session here in our back room. That isn't the sauna and cold plunges, although we do infuse breathwork and somatics into your contrast therapy sessions. You can also get it just one-on-one in the back in our room setup, dependent on what you need. If you're interested in learning more about somatic therapy, hit me up. I love talking about this all day. Also, last thing I'll say is some books that I would recommend that really support somatic therapy and how it's, although it's an ancient techniques, it's a new and revolutionary form of therapy and health and wellness that's coming out, holistic health that's coming out here now in this Western world in which we live. One of the books is The Body Keeps the Score. One of the other books is Waking the Tiger. And the third book that I'll give you is called The Wakeful Body. So The Body Keeps the Score, which is a very psychology-based somatic therapy, talking about how our body literally keeps a score of all of the things that we have gone through, all of the traumas, all of the experiences, all of the even simple emotions, even if they weren't traumatic, but it was just an emotional state that you were in for a very long time. Our body's keeping record of that, and it's storing the bioenergy in our bodies, and it's what is causing sickness and illness and disease in a lot of ways. And then Waking the Tiger talks about somatics and different somatic techniques. And then The Wakeful Body is a yoga-based book that talks about how our body is really the vehicle for us to heal ourselves, which is a very empowering concept. But much love, keep smiling, and I hope to see you coming in soon here at Polarity Plunge.